All right, it's the Tuesday show. It's a very special Tuesday show, of course. We're going to be talking all about EVO 2017.
Which is
very soon now.
3 days away.
I'm Ultra David.
I'm James Chen. And honestly, it feels like EVO was just like 2 months ago.
Look, when you've been to 18 EVOs, as James has, that's a real number. Kind of.
It is.
If you count
it's true.
B3 and B4 and B5.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But that's real. Wow. For me, this is, or I've been to 8.
Right. So you're just a.
I'm a noob.
Yeah, you're a noob. God.
I'm a noob.
God.
That's right. So we're going to be talking all about EVO. We're going to have a little spiel about the intro. We're going to talk a little about history, about how this year is shaping up. Mm-hmm. Then we're going to talk about each of the individual games. And for many of these games, we don't know a lot. I don't know that much about the state of the KOF scene, etc. So what we're going to do is bring on various experts for these games. And for KOF, for example, we'll have Giby. For Guilty Gear, I guess we're going to have you. Maybe Steve. We'll see if he calls in.
Right, exactly.
Injustice, I guess I'll just be chatting about that. Melee and Smash 4 will have D1, etc., etc. So we're hoping to get some insight that we might not otherwise get.
Exactly. And, I mean, I guess for this introduction section, look, I don't know how many people in the chat are unfamiliar with EVO. I mean, if you are, I'm not sure how you found us or why you're here.
Yay!
But
happy you're here for the first time, clearly.
Obviously, EVO's been going on for a while. EVO started in EVO 2002. That's when it first officially became EVO. So this is the little history lesson here, right?
True.
It started as B3, wasn't meant to be anything, was the first internet gathering in the United States. I think the only foreign players came from Kuwait. And that took place in Sunnyvale Golfland up in Northern California. It was like 60-some-odd people in Alpha 2, and boy, was that a gigantic...
Not even joking, man. I wasn't playing at that time, all right? I came in 5 years later or so. But even 5 years later, 60 people, almost unheard of.
Right,
I would go to regionals and even some majors where 60 people was like a pipe dream.
Okay,
right?
Yeah, there was some Canada. There was definitely Canada.
That makes sense.
There. Yes, there was definitely some. I just meant like from overseas,
yeah,
I guess.
Outside of North America.
But then, nothing happened for a long time after that. There was no more major tournaments until finally B4, which was just a dumb inside joke because B3 stood for Battle by the Bay. And so the guys who ran that event, Tom and Tony Cannon, basically teamed up with Wizard and Seth Killian and a few other people, and they created B4. And it was just a joke. Hey, it's the sequel to B3, right? And that took place in basically 2000.
Right.
And that was in Folsom, California, where basically nothing else exists except for the prison that you've heard about in Johnny Cash songs. Right?
Wow. I didn't actually put those two together, but you're right.
And that's what Folsom was known for. And then after that, B5 was 2001, was same arcade, but it just it kept growing little by little. And at that point in time, that's when some of the foreign players started showing up. Like, true story, I believe, I know White, who was and Liquid Metal, who were two MVC2 players, showed up. I believe Tokido was there, Chikyu Saddam showed up, and won CVS1 with Raiden against
genius.
God. And then finally in 2002, that's when it became EVO.
Right.
And that took place at UCLA. And,
right.
and at that point in time, that's when it kind of got bigger. Yeah, exactly. And but that's kind of how it all started evolution-wise. And that was the event that Tokido won CVS2. We had the now infamous 5v5 and Third Strike, where Tokido introduced everyone to the unblockables from Urien on poor Justin Wong.
That's right.
Where Mike Watson played Yun with Sorai Rengeki because we didn't know that Ganejin was broken at the time.
And where Cole didn't push enough buttons.
Yeah. Actually, no, that was
different?
That was when Daigo came out for the Alpha 3 exhibition.
Right.
That's when Cole did not push enough buttons. Yeah.
Not that. I wasn't around yet. These are all tales from pre-David.
Yeah, but that was when, and then from there, the next year in 2003, moved on to Cal Poly Pomona, 2004 Cal Poly Pomona again.
That was my first one.
Yeah, that was the infamous Daigo parry.
Indeed.
In 2004.
That I was not there for. But I went the previous day and not that day. Great job, Dave.
Go! Yeah. But then 2005 is when we first jumped to Las Vegas. And that's when it just started growing and growing. But 2008 is when we were in the Tropicana. And it was really, like, not very good.
Yeah, but that was the strip. You know, I mean, there was
that was the first time we were directly on the strip.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes, that's correct.
There's like some prestige, I guess, to being on the strip rather than in like whatever hotel was the Green Mile or something.
Yeah,
Green Valley Ranch.
Green Valley Ranch, and then we were at like the Red Rock. Yeah, exactly. And 2008 was honestly, I still remember going to that Evo. I thought that was the beginning of the end. Even though Street Fighter 4 had a beta that was there playable, it wasn't very good.
Yeah, I heard it was garbage.
There's not a lot of like hype behind it. People saw it and were like, okay, this is interesting. We had a weird exhibition where people played it and everything. But then 2009 happened, and this is where the resurgence came from. This is where the 09ers came from, because Street Fighter 4 just got big again, and then the grand finals at EVO was Daigo and Justin Wong.
Yeah, that was good.
And it was like pretty much exactly how it needed to be. And it was hype, it was crazy, and from there, year after year, it just kept getting bigger and bigger and crazier, and EVO kept growing all the way up until last year, 2016, which, you know, I don't want to say hit the peak, but it was definitely a very special, unusual year.
Yeah, it was wild in terms of the numbers. I mean, just an incredible number of people for a bunch of games. Street Fighter had over 5,000. But it wasn't just that. The Smashes had an incredible number of people. A lot of the games were huge in a way that has not been duplicated this year. And I think it probably is true that those were peak numbers for the foreseeable future.
Right, for the foreseeable future.
You never know.
Who knows what's going to happen as we continue.
Once Dragon Ball comes out, and every single nerd plays fighting games now. All of them, rather than just the ones who are currently doing it.
Yeah.
Which is all of us. Yeah, we'll see then. But for now, it is a little bit smaller. And, you know, there are probably some reasons for that, including it's a little bit more expensive. Probably the case that a lot of people who went there for the first time last year and figured, maybe I don't need to go. Street Fighter V doesn't have the same carry that it did last year.
Right.
And it's not like that just means that Street Fighter V's numbers are lower. There's a lot of crossover between SF5 and other games.
Right.
People who were there for SF5 before and then were just like, fine, I'll enter other games. Aren't there this year. So, you know, a bunch of different reasons. I don't know.
You know,
I don't think it's that bad. I'm fine with it myself. Although expensive in a sense.
I will say, for example, that, you know, a lot of people are like, you know, Street Fighter V doesn't need to be the big game, all these other games, all this stuff like that. But that right there is a perfect example. Street Fighter V having big numbers did inflate all the other games, right? It helped all the other games. And that's very important to note, right? And even if you look at Street Fighter V numbers this year, even though they're about half of what it was last year.
2,622.
But that's still higher than Ultra Street Fighter 4 was 2 years ago. So, I mean, outside of this anomaly year...
I really think, that's what I think it kind of was.
It's kind of a growth. And who knows, we may get back to that point again. Like you said, Dragon Ball may explode things, right? Who knows what will happen. Maybe Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite comes out and it just turns out to blow everybody's mind with the gameplay, right? So you never know. You never know what's going to happen. And so I don't think the FGC is stopping anytime. I don't think this is a sign that we're going down or stagnating, but the venue this year is gigantic.
So last year it was split. It was between the Vegas Convention Center, and then Sunday was the EVO finals in the Mandalay Bay Event Center. This year it's all in the Mandalay Bay.
Yes.
Never been to Vegas. You might not know that those are basically the exact opposite sides of the strip. You got Mandalay on the one, and then way down you got the convention center and the hotel where lots of other people were staying near it.
Yeah.
So it's really nice that you don't have to take a cab ride or walk miles.
And what a lot of people didn't actually know as well is there was a couple of years where it took place in the ballroom in Bally's Casino, Bally's Paris, right? At the time, that was the largest convention center that was the largest convention space on the Strip.
Other than the convention center.
Other than the convention center itself.
Yeah.
But this Mandalay Bay one is brand new.
Correct.
And so it's bigger than anything we've ever been able to get. And Tony Cannon, a.k.a. Ponder, who is one of the founders of EVO, and Shoryuken.com, and in GGPO, so these guys are kind of important to the fighting game community. They put out a floor plan on Reddit, Street Fighter. I wish I had it here because I could post it up, but they posted it up. And they put up a little, in the floor plan, they put a picture of a minivan to show the scale, and the minivan is, barely even detectable on the picture.
It's
the
going to
place
be wild.
is gigantic. So, I think it's going to be pretty crazy. It's going to be pretty crazy. And also keep in mind, obviously, this year is down. But I do think as the years go by, the ratio of players to spectators is going to start shifting heavily towards spectators. And
maybe.
Eventually it might just get back to those numbers just through spectators alone. Because not only is there a tournament there, but this year there's a fully fledged artist gallery, artist alley. Last year, the artist alley was you were basically sardines in a can, right? Because they just weren't expecting those numbers,
right?
And so there's going to be that, and there's going to be there's going to be one machine for that Eureka game, but there's going to be Dragon Ball Z is going to be playable, Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite is going to be playable, Final Fantasy Dissidia is going to be playable.
There will also be presentations by some of the folks. One of the canons is giving a presentation. And there's a few others
Maximilian's going to be, as he always does at EVO, so a lot of people are going to meet up with those guys.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff to do other than just the fighting games. By the way, it's also in Las Vegas, which is a interesting town to be in if you are not currently playing fighting games. not the worst spot to be in.
Yeah.
I just actually I saw a tweet from Anti, one of the Smash players, who had a link to prize pots that I thought was very interesting.
This. Really?
Yes. Calculating both the
entrant numbers.
Yeah, entrant numbers plus any money that's been put in by developers or publishers.
What do we got?
All right. Well, probably predictably, number one is Street Fighter V, 76,000.
76,000.
That's the pot. It's not first place.
Right, okay, right. That's the pot. Okay.
Looks like second place is Injustice 2.
Okay.
58,000.
Nice.
Then third is Tekken 7 with 27,000. Fourth is actually Guilty Gear, 18,000.
Nice.
Then KOF, 17,000 because they got a big developer pop bonus.
SNK added a bunch of pop bonus in there.
They did. Yeah. Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3, 16,000.
Really?
Yeah.
Whoa. Where is most of that pop?
I'm not really sure what's going, because there's definitely no developer support, so okay, whatever. Then Super Smash Bros. For the Wii U, 15,000.
Nice.
Well, they have 1,500 players. So,
right, so that's where it's coming from.
That's entirely what it's coming from. You just literally times it by 10, and then you go. BlazBlue Central Fiction, after that, 14,970. At the end, Super Smash Bros. Melee, 14,280, because there are 1,428 players and you times it by 10 entrance fees.
Right.
So,
exactly.
That's a bummer for those games, but...
10K bonus from EVO because UMVC3 won the donation drive. Okay, yeah, naturally. Forgot about that. So, yeah.
So there you go. Yeah, there's a little bit of a breakdown. Unfortunate that the Smash games are still down there. There's no developer or publisher money in that, obviously. And that's where, of course, the majority of Street Fighter, Injustice, Tekken, KOF, that's where a lot of the money comes from. So.
Yeah. And even, it's funny, too, because they just announced the KOF support, and Axis, I think it was only maybe a week or 2 weeks ago, announced their support. And you had people basically, I heard rumors of some people being like, man, if I had known about that pop bonus, I would have entered KOF. And it's just come and play, dude.
Let's play video games.
Yeah, pretty much. So, anyways.
Yeah. 6,797 unique entrants. People have done the math, not official EVO numbers, but people have done the math based on the entrants. 5,800 of those from the U.S., Japan is the second most with 298.
No surprises.
Well, Canada's third with 235. I might expect Canada to be number two.
Right.
But negative, 4,533 people have entered to play just one game.
Oh, you mean
they're only entering one game.
For one game, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. And Street Fighter V has the most single game players with 1,208. But, of course, they have the most players overall.
Right.
So that actually means that they have a giant portion that are playing multiple games because 2,600 people entered in total. Right. So more people who are playing Street Fighter are playing other games, too, rather than just SFI.
Right. And also, I just want to add on, there's all sorts of things to do there. So, for example, I know a couple of the nights, Cross Counter TV is doing some of the bar fight stuff over there. I do want to mention Anime Evo, which is running like 20 games, like everything from Dengenki Buko Fighting Climax, which is DBFC, not Z. DBFC.
Oh, man,
and I know, for example, they're also going to be running Puyo Puyo Tetris there. They're going to be running Catherine. Dude, Gundam Versus is free to enter because Namco put a giant pop bonus in the Anime Evo side tournament.
That's sick, man.
Yeah, so look, there is so much to do. There's also going to be the BYOC area.
Of course.
Where people, it's pretty much a free-for-all. You run there, try to claim a TV, and set up whatever fighting game you want.
Don't be a jerk about it, but yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But there is so many crazy things going on at Evo, and it's like you said, it's in Vegas.
And it's in Vegas.
So it's like, let's go hit some of the tables, hit some of the slots.
Finals day, the order is going to be starting off with Marvel vs. Capcom 3 at 8 in the morning.
Right. So finals day is like last year, where it's going to not be on the show. It's not going to be in the convention center floor. It's going to be in the Mandalay Bay Arena, like last year. So
right. So Marvel 3, then BlazBlue, then Tekken, then Smash 4, then Street Fighter 5 to round it off. The previous games will be Saturday, and one of them will be Friday, KOF. And that's going to be the order that we talk about the games in.
Outside of squeezing Smash 4 in a little bit early, as long as we have D1 on.
Figured we would just allow D1 to take both of those at the same time.
Yeah, but look, I know a lot of people have talked about this a little. Oh, God, you know what? The convention center space is going to allow drinks. There's going to be a bar there. You're going to be able to order drinks and have drinks in the floor space. But, I do want to talk a little bit about on Sunday. A lot of people, there was just the announcement that you can't bring backpacks and bags in there. But that's a Mandalay Bay rule.
It's not entirely...
And also in the Mandalay Bay rules, it says, like, small purses.
Right, I was going to say, so you can bring personal bags and purses.
Yes.
But not backpacks and bigger bags. So if you have... something small you're carrying around, you're fine. Just they don't want you smuggling in booze. Be a shame if somebody did that last year, and actually every year. Actually, every tournament. Not just either.
I haven't seen any. I've only seen people bring in some Gatorade.
Maybe brown Gatorade.
I've seen reddish Gatorade before.
One last interesting stat. Smash 4 and Melee, you might think, oh, that's like the same game. There's probably a lot of crossover. Let me tell you. Between those two, 1,515 Smash 4, 1,435 for Melee. There is a total of 244 people who have crossed over to both. About 15%.
So basically Mewtwo King and 243 other people.
Not many. Yeah, good old vodcade. It's my favorite flavor.
Flavor of Gatorade. Okay.
Yeah. All right. Well, enough of the intro. We have to be quick about things. We're going to try to keep it to about 10-15 minutes per game. Yeah. There are a bunch of games to talk about, and we have not forever to talk about them in. So what we're going to do right now is, you want to take a short break first, or do you need to get things set up with him?
It doesn't matter. We can just, it's going to be literally, everything is going to be on the fly. So this is either going to be crazy disaster, or
maybe
it's going to be amazing.
Wouldn't be the first time we're at old Ultra 10 TV, but we'll see.
Yeah, exactly.
You want to bring on the old Gibbs?
Yeah, let's do that. Let's see if I can get Giby on the call. I hope Giby is ready for us at this point.